Well, hello. Welcome to Orchid Blooms podcast. Welcome back, bloomers. My name is Orchid Brown. I am your host with Orchid Blooms podcast. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Orchid Eye Brown. This is our second podcast episode of 2024, and I decided to dedicate it to a resolution that I am pushing this year. My resolution is to mind my own business. I started to practice last year so it would stick this year. So far, it seems that for 2024, a lot of people want me in their business. So I guess my resolution isn't really working out well for me. But I am hoping that all of you may be able to do the same thing. I mean, just this February alone, you go on TikTok and everyone's exposing something. I mean, I don't know them, so I can't necessarily categorize that situation as me not minding my own business. They posted it on social media, so then it's my business. But I mean, with friends and family, even though I have said and they have asked that I mind my own business, and I have said I don't want any part of this business. Somehow, sometimes they just like to drop a nugget here and there, and then I have to just remember, none of my business. None of my business. So this podcast episode is dedicated to mind your own business. Mind your business. There are so many benefits to minding your own business. One of the biggest benefit is peace of mind. And I love peace. I love peace with all my heart. I love peace. So I just want you to understand peace of mind is so important in every single one of our lives. Peace of mind means no stress, no bullshit, no drama. It can be emotionally draining not minding your own business. You get caught up in things you don't need to get caught up in. You can choose to live your life and enjoy it, or get stuck into a wormhole. The wormhole is other people's bullshit. We have to go through life navigating and dealing with a lot of things. We have stress at work. We have stress in our relationships. We have stress just by driving our car. Traffic is a bitch. So why do we need to add other people's problems onto that? I understand that people feel that we need to have sympathy, and I associate sympathy with pity. So I'm not going to pity you. You have made a decision in your life and you are working it out. So I'm going to allow you to make up your mind and do what's right for you without interjecting myself in your bullshit. But we also have empathy. You can empathize with somebody. You can say, I empathize with what you're going through, and I understand, and I want the best for you, but this is a decision that you need to make for your life. I cannot make that decision for you. And it's choosing to exit from that situation, choosing to exit from that conversation, because that conversation has really nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. Let that person decide what is best for them. And if they are unsure about what is best for them, they need to figure out who they are. Once you figure out who you are, you'll know exactly what's best for you. And that's just my thought process. I could be wrong, but it's still none of my business. It's really none of my business. I will support you with your decision, and that's it. Minding your own business can help us maintain healthy boundaries and prevent us from overstepping or intruding on other people's lives. We can then focus on our own lives and goals, which can help us grow and improve as individuals. This can give us a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. Minding your own business presents more learning opportunities for you. We learn by doing, trying, and facing the consequences of our own actions. Minding your own business encourages introspection and self-awareness. It forces you to evaluate your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and values, helping you to gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Minding your own business at its heart is focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. It is taking responsibility for your own thoughts and actions and letting other people take responsibility for their own thoughts and actions. Minding your own business is about respect, empathy, and a dash of self-preservation. It's knowing when to offer support and when to step back. It's recognizing that not every story needs your commentary and intervention. The truth is, you can't fix another person. Minding your own business helps us to stop judging, criticizing, fixing people. You tend to accept people as is when you are in that state of mind. I found that most people aren't sharing their business because they always want your input or advice. Most times they just want to vent or have you say what they want to hear. Honesty or truth goes in one ear and out the next. You are most likely wasting your breath, your insight, or wisdom. People will do whatever they want. Their desire leads them, even over a cliff. When I started minding my own business, I was less emotionally invested. I started to see the person for who they really are. I can tell just by the way they talk that they will do the opposite of what they are saying. They will go back to the cause of their problems. That is an hour of your day wasted, all because you couldn't mind your own business. They did not need you to make that decision. They had already made up their mind prior to talking to you, but I guess they just wanted a soundboard, someone to kind of talk to and bounce their words off of so that they could process the decision that they have made mentally. I remembered having a conversation with someone years ago, and the person was asking me, Orchid, you made a decision, but you don't seem quite comfortable with the decision that you have made. And I said, I am comfortable with the decision that I have made. It's just that my mind and my heart are conflicting with each other. And when they're conflicting with each other, my mind knows that this is the right decision that I have made, but my heart is saying, I'm not ready, and how dare you do this to me? Why would you put me in this position? Now I'm going to be hurt and broken for a while, and I don't know how to survive all of this emotion. So in that situation, I remember telling this person that I need to train my mind to be stronger than my heart, because your heart can lead you in so many different places, and it may not be for the best. Your heart can convince you that, hey, everything is going to work out. Everything is going to change. Everything is going to just fall into place. This person will eventually see your heart and see you. And so I kept thinking to myself, that doesn't make any sense. If they don't see me, all those time before, what makes me think they're going to see me now? And so even in work situations, I'll say, well, if I keep working harder, I will get that promotion. I will get what I deserve. And my heart is telling me that these people are genuine and they have my back. But at the end of the day, actually, they didn't. They were just placating me. They were just feeding me that, oh, Orchid, you're doing such a great job. You're going to end up in such a good place and blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was great and all. But words don't pay my bills. Words don't mean shit unless actions are followed through. If I don't see any action or progression in any way, my heart needs to take a back seat and my mind needs to go into that mode of making sure that I get exactly what I fucking deserve, because my time is not free. It's not free. So it took me some time and years to understand that sometimes your heart needs to be left out of certain decisions, and that your mind needs to be stronger than your heart when you're making your decisions. And I mean, it's cute. It's really cute when you're sitting down with a friend and they're telling you stuff and they're like, oh, everything's going to work out. I just know this person has my back because they said it. I need action. Words don't mean shit without actions, because at the end of the day, once your brain clicks and you realize that their actions is saying the complete opposite, your heart can finally understand that this person was never for you. They were never on your side. It was all a game just to get you to go along with their initiative. But based on the way that they speak, based on the way that they approach a situation, they had already picked a side, but kept telling you for months that it was your side. And that can hurt. It really can. It can really hurt. So the point of me going on that specific rant is to let people know that when you are making decision, make decision from your brain. Make sure your head, that crown on your head, is the one that's leading your decisions. It's not your heart, because your heart can literally leave you into a black hole. And now your heart is going to have to overcompensate by coming up with excuses to make that black hole seem great. Let's improve it. When your head's like, nah, not happening. We're going to walk right back out of this black hole, and you're just going to do what I tell you to do because you cannot make proper decisions. Back to the topic at hand. We realize that meddling can sometimes stir up another person's insecurities. And when I say this, I'm not saying this as though you, as the listener, is doing something wrong all by yourself. No, I am included in this thought process. And as I was writing this podcast episode, I kept thinking about all the times where someone was sharing something with me and I provided an input that stirred up their insecurities. And it led them to make decisions that really weren't good for them. It really wasn't. And in that moment, after the decision was made and the damage had been done, I regretted opening my mouth. They end up making poor decisions after a conversation with us. They do. Words have power. I saw it firsthand with the women in church who were so insecure because other married women questioned them persistently on why they weren't married. It was really none of their business, but they found a way to bring it up every occasion. You know how annoying that is? At this point, I would have told them off, but some people are just too kind. Some people just want to keep the peace and is trying to figure out a way to navigate how this person or these people are making them feel about their circumstances because they lack any understanding. No matter the occasion, they don't know how this affects these girls mentally. Their esteem is shot after how many months of questioning them on why they aren't married yet. And look at us. We're so glorious. Like, it's great that you're bragging, but let's be real. You haven't really discussed what's going on in the back seat. What are the skeletons in your marriage closet? But yet you're going to come trying to look for a boost of self-esteem by tearing someone else down, by pointing out that you're married and so you are important and they aren't important. So hurry up and get married so you can be a part of this clique, this happy clique, this bullshit that they're spreading. And you will find bliss. So these girls then become more susceptible to predators due to this constant bragging from these married women. Mind your own business can help you to not cause harm. And that is harmful when these men who really don't go to church start showing up because they're looking for good pussy. Maybe I shouldn't have used that word. Someone that they could control. And because they're so desperate, because again, these women in church made sure they were desperate enough to take whatever comes along. You're good looking, okay, I can show you off at church and then we can be married, and so these girls can stop making me feel like shit. And then they marry somebody that isn't very good and does not have pure intentions, just so they can be a part of the clique. And while they're in this clique, you better lie. You better lie and say your marriage is going really well. You better lie and say that everything is perfect, because at the end of the day, they are going to judge you for marrying the wrong person, even though they are the reasons that you made this decision so you can feel as happy as them. And all because they lied about their situations and their circumstances. You know, some of these girls that were running around bragging about how important and amazing they are because they were married. Years has passed, and I think one of them, one of their husbands, these girls, one of them husband ended up in the newspaper as somebody that was paying like an escort in Ottawa a lot of money to give him a good time. And he ended up being published, his name being published on this list. And her whole world was crushed, all because she was bragging. And let me say, it went viral in the church. It went viral. Everyone heard about it. They remembered how, the pastor was praising her and bringing her up to the front and showing off that she is such a good wife and she has such a perfect family, and invited her husband on there and said, look how amazing he is. This is a man of God. And all of that, just to have that come out. And I'm telling you, everybody in the church was like giggling, because she was one of those special people that was going around trying to tell everyone how amazing her marriage is. You see, sharing too much of your business and not being humble in the situation, humble in life and the gifts that you have been given. Yes, you are blessed and highly favored, but that blessing can easily turn into something horrible, like a nightmare, because you did not understand that in order to keep your blessing, you need to learn how to keep your mouth shut. If anyone asks, you just say, oh, thank you. We are married, and that's it. But instead, you decided to participate with other miserable women who are married, to go and tear down younger women and make them feel that they're inadequate and that they aren't valued. They have no purpose until they are married. Their purpose could have been to wait for God to bring a good man to them. Maybe that was it. They didn't just jump into it because, a good-looking dude just showed up to church one day. You don't know anything about his history, but you jumped into a relationship with him. You got married instantly. And now your marriage is exposed to an entire city. And every single time you walk down that city or you talk to a friend, they know that your marriage was a fraud. It was fraudulent. All because you couldn't just keep your mouth shut. Minding your own business can help you to not cause harm. That is the important part from this story that I want you all to take from it. You just take it. Do not use your blessing or something that's great that's happening to you in your life to go and make someone else feel horrible about their life, because you know what? Karma's a bitch. You've put it out there of your intentions, and your intentions was not pure when you went and teared these young girls down. And so you have just created a karma that's going to come back to you tenfold, and it was glorious. A person who does not mind their own business is usually called a busybody. You used to hear this term back in the day, don't be a busybody. And I've heard it. I did when I was growing up. I always wondered what that meant. I kept thinking as a child, is that woman saying that my mom is too busy? Or is that woman saying that my neighbor is too busy? Maybe she should stop working, just relax a little bit. After a few years, I grew up and I understood that busybody meant, mind your own business. Just mind your own business. So for 2024, don't be a busybody. Just don't do it. It doesn't look good. I decided to Google what I say instead of mind your own business, because again, telling someone to mind your own business can come off quite rude. And I am a rude person, so I love just saying mind your own business. It's none of your business. Do not ask me these questions. I'm a very private person. So it sounds defensive, right? It sounds defensive and it sounds rude. But the person was being rude by trying to ask questions that was really none of their business. We are not that close. We're not on that level. Mind your own business. But for the listeners, I felt that I needed to Google this. What is a great way to say mind your own business without actually saying mind your own business? I was delighted to find workwizardry.com. I have always wanted to know different ways to tell someone to mind their own business. Phrases that are more politically correct. And yes, we do hate the term politically correct, and it can be annoying when a lot of people do that. But in certain cases, we really need to, learn how to express mind your own business without actually having to say mind your own business. That could include in the workplace, could include friends or friends of a friend that you may not know, but they're trying to get to know you. You never know. It could be with, parents. It could be with your significant other's parents and family members. So I had to Google it. Let's go over some of these points. Here are a few examples of ways to say mind your own business without having to say mind your own business. The first one is, I appreciate your concern, but I prefer to handle this on my own. The second is, I am comfortable dealing with this matter independently. Number 3, I'd rather not discuss this topic right now. Thanks for your understanding. Number 4, I understand you're curious, but I'd rather keep this private. Number 5, I'd prefer to keep the details of myself if you don't mind. Number 6, I'd appreciate it if we could shift the conversation to a different topic. Number 7, let's focus on our matters for now, shall we? Number 8, I'm sure you mean well, but I'd rather handle this myself. Number 9, I'd prefer to keep my personal life separate from this discussion. Number 10, I'd rather not involve others in this situation. Number 11, this is something I'd like to deal with privately. And last, number 12, I'm not comfortable sharing these details at this moment. All of them sounds nice, right? I think a few of them was kind of rude, but it's necessary. In these sorts of situations, it's necessary. But I mean, it is definitely better than saying, I need you to mind your own business. I think the difference between the way these are explained is that there's less attitude. There's less attitude. I have a lot of attitude, so telling you to mind your own business is me. But I would like to grow as an individual and learn how to tell somebody, mind your own business. Just mind your own business. In a nice, politically correct way, without being rude. But I have a poker face, so even though I'm saying all of this stuff, you can tell by my face, I'm telling you to fuck off. Let's continue. I will find a way to use all of these answers. So much fun is the point that I'm trying to say. And try to enjoy it as I say these things. I really do. To mind your own business doesn't mean becoming selfish. You are choosing to give attention to yourself rather than others. Let them handle their own business. They will make a decision for themselves anyways. When I think about why people can't mind their own business, I think of a few things. 1, they want to learn about you. It's cute. I really appreciate that. Number 2, they want a way in. It's the easiest way to lower your defenses. It is hard to tell if someone is truly trustworthy, but most can discern quickly, which is good. Some people may be genuinely just wanting to get to know you and want a way in because they think you're an amazing person and they just want that vibration in their lives because they have never experienced that before. So really, discernment is very important when you are dealing with the situation of they want a way in. Number 3, they want leverage over you. Knowing your weaknesses could help their cause. Number 4, some people like the attention from sharing someone else's business. Yes, and I'm sure you can look at your life or your past life and think about these people and when that happened to you and how they showed who they really were. Number 5, they want a distraction from their own problems. And yes, we all struggle with this. That's why social media is there. When people post up their stories, for example, the one I mentioned earlier, I watched a 50-part series, 10-minute videos called Who the Fuck Did I Marry? And I was not going to watch this. I really was not. But then I started the first episode because it came up on my algorithm on TikTok. And I could not stop. And I had things to do, so I had to pause. And then I had to go out and get my stuff done. And I rushed home. And before I went to bed, I pulled it up again. And I had to listen to these 10-minute videos, which are 50 parts. And they were so long. But I had to know, who the fuck did she marry? You know, in those situations, if I'm looking for a distraction, social media is very good for that. And TikTok, people love to tell their personal stories. So I really don't need to see a person face to face and hear about their business for a distraction. But some people do. Maybe their algorithm isn't that great and they show them things that they really don't really want, but they've been watching it. So the algorithm kept pumping it through, and I get it. But I am very picky in my daily life. I'm very picky with my social media. So my algorithm knows, right now she needs a distraction. Let's just throw this in. And it was appreciated. It was a very beautiful, well done series. So if you're ever on TikTok, look up Risa Tisa, Who the Fuck Did I Marry? And watch it. It's long. You might waste an entire day, but just watch it. Back to the points. I'm sure I could come up with more points, but 5 is a good number to start with, in my opinion. We really don't need this podcast episode to go too long. I value my privacy. I don't share my business with just anyone. There is a time and a place for everything. I share certain things with certain people. I do not share the same story with many. I like to share it once, not many times. Then I leave it in the past as I move forward with my decisions. Can't dwell on a situation for too long. You can share it with that one confidant if you want to, just to process through what you need to process through. But at the end of the day, you still made a decision and you just need that reinforcement, and then you just go with it. And after that, you just don't bring it up again because the decision has been made and you have chosen to move on and let go. Due to that, I find that I do the same with others. When someone shares their business, I listen because they clearly want to talk. Say my piece and then I move on. I do not hold on to that topic unless the person brings it up to share a decision in the future that they have made about our conversation. But I let it go after that. Move on with my life, as they will too. Minding your own business is good for your mental health. You can make more time for self-care, and you can give yourself some much needed self-love. The inner peace and inner happiness that you will find by choosing to do this is bliss. I encourage you to mind your own business this year and choose to focus on your happiness. The distraction is really not worth it. And if you are using it to force a connection, it may not work out. Sometimes learning about someone too quickly can turn you off, or it could work in your favor, really depending on the person. It's a gamble, but the journey is what matters. So that concludes this podcast episode. I wish you all a very healthy and happy 2024. Thank you for supporting the Orchid Blooms podcast. Please subscribe, follow, rate, or leave a review on the podcast or the episode on your desired platform. We also have social media pages. Subscribe and follow to Orchid Blooms YouTube channel, the Ambitious Obsession Network on Facebook, at the Ambitious Obs on Twitter, at AmbitiousNet on Instagram. Don't forget to share your favorite podcast episode with your family and your friends, and I hope you have a splendid day.